Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I wanted to give you guys 5 of my favorite altcoins that are going to be setting up for great returns. On top of that, we're also going to be diving into the Ethereum price chart. I'm going to be sharing with you guys exactly where I think Ethereum is headed and when we will actually be expecting to see some type of a pullback. As you guys know, all of the markets have been exploding. ETH and Bitcoin have really been leading the way, and the most bullish scenarios that I laid out have all been hit. This is something that we all wanted to see as long-term investors, and I fully expect that new all-time highs are going to be very much on the way, and we're going to be seeing these markets go way above and beyond anybody's wildest expectations. As somebody who's been around to see the cycles, I can tell you guys right now that the majority of our profit will be made over the next 5 months as we close out the end of this year and the 4-year cycle. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 20,000 members and growing. Links are provided for you in the description for the people that want to sign up, join my Discord, and communicate with the rest of my community. On top of that, if you're new, just getting into these markets, maybe you guys want some extra educational content to study from, I have a link in the description to go ahead and download my free ebook and beginner's guide to crypto. This thing's going to help you guys out tremendously, exactly as it's done for me. So check it out. Links are provided for you in the description. And with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are starting off the day by talking about Ethereum. The way that this video is going to go, we're going to talk about Ethereum, then we're going to talk about the Bitcoin pair, and then we're going to dive into the 5 altcoins that are going to be setting up for some great profits. So first things first, guys, what I wanted to talk to you guys about Ethereum is really just covering some of our last videos, summarizing some thoughts and perspectives, because the most bullish thing that could have ever happened for all of these markets is happening, which shouldn't necessarily be a big surprise. I mean, this has been one of the biggest bull runs in history. We've seen markets constantly overextend, much greater than people were initially expecting, especially Bitcoin. But that's how every single bull cycle goes. The way it usually goes is it goes higher than everybody's expecting, and then when it crashes, it goes lower than everybody's expecting. And that's just the way the market works. It's always meant to shake you out. It's always meant to cause max pain in the market. And right now, you know, we're seeing that between the people that refuse to buy at these support lows are now watching as the market is bouncing so high, it's about to be hitting new all-time highs, and now they're feeling really scared. They're saying to themselves, oh man, I sold at the bottom. I've been waiting to get in. When do I get in? And I'm telling you guys right now that if you're somebody that opened shorts down here, you panic sold the bottom expecting Ethereum to go lower, and or you're just waiting on the sidelines looking to get back in, you've been waiting for a dip that's never came, understand that there is always going to be a correction. This is the way that markets move, and when we're in this point of the cycle towards the end, this is the part where things are going to get very overextended. They're going to constantly go higher than you're initially expecting. And so the best bit of advice I can give you guys right now is don't FOMO buy. Yes, the market's hot. Yes, the market's exploding. Tons of green everywhere. But nonetheless, guys, I still think it's smarter that if you were waiting on the sidelines, now is not the time you want to FOMO buy as we're rallying all the way back to the all-time highs. You want to wait for some type of a correction. Now, we've had little tiny pullbacks along the way, but those pullbacks did not last very long, and so it hasn't given us a great opportunity. And so I wanted to summarize some thoughts here. I wanted to cover some prior analysis that I actually made about a month ago. I made a video about this, so you guys will probably recognize it. And pretty much what that is this potential right here. Now, if you guys remember, I covered this about a month ago where I said when we were all the way back down here at the lows, I said that one thing I was personally going to be watching for was this type of a move where we find support, we make a big impulse all the way up close to those all-time highs, you know, just a little bit below, and then we end up getting a nice pullback all the way back down to support, which would be, you know, approximately $2,100, $2,200, even potentially down to $2,000. You know, a big correction to really shake out all of the late buyers. And this is still something I think is very, very much on the table. I don't necessarily want to say likely because you never truly know what is likely. The one thing I do think is likely that this move will be happening regardless. We will get a huge push at the end of the year, big blow off top. That is for sure. That's going to happen regardless. But the question in hand is, what is going to happen in the meantime? What is going to happen in the consolidation? And when it comes to consolidation, consolidation is there to chop you out of your positions. Consolidation is there to shake out all the weak hands. And that, in my opinion, is where we're still at today. I don't think that we're finished yet. We had this big sell-off. We had this massive correction, 50, 60% approximately. And now we're getting a buyback from that point. And so the best thing I want you guys to understand here is there's usually an equilibrium inside of a market. Now, it really depends how that equilibrium ends up working, but oftentimes whenever you see this big correction back down, you're going to see a big move back up. And then after this move, we have a big move down, we have a big move up. Generally what happens is you get somewhat of an equilibrium point that usually comes all the way back down to the beginning of that run, right? So we had this run down here, Ethereum bounced, we went all the way up to approximately where we're at. We could still go a little bit higher nonetheless, but regardless, I would expect another down move to come shortly after that point. And I do think that that down move should erase the majority of those gains that have been had. So all the way back down in here support, when we bounced from like 1,800 bucks, I do think that the next correction should erase a lot of that gain. Just because, markets are designed in every single way to shake out all of the weak hands, all of the late buyers, all of the people that refuse to buy support at the great opportunity. They're going to be FOMO buying right now. And we're seeing that right now as we speak. What I've personally been doing, and what I've updated you guys with my plan, I've personally been waiting for the opportunity to accumulate some low leverage longs. I have yet to do too many of those. I've posted 2 different signals in my Discord. But nonetheless, I've kind of been waiting on my hands, just kind of sitting there, waiting for a bigger correction. And I still believe that this scenario is very much on the table. And the reason for that is because if we go all the way back to this last cycle here, and this is a Coinbase chart, so you're not going to be able to see the whole thing. Technically, we started all the way down here at about 40 cents, and then we rallied up to 23 bucks, and then we had this first sell-off. So all the way back down in here, this would have been our wave 1. This was wave 1, and then wave 3 was this entire move from like 6 bucks all the way up here to 450 bucks, right? And then this is where we consolidated in this triangle formation before going for our final blow off top in wave 5, right? So one thing I want you guys to understand here is during a 3-wave, right here, notice how we get this triangle. This is an ascending triangle formation. Inside of wave 3 and 4, 3 is the impulse, 4 is the correction. Inside of wave 4, we oftentimes get these triangles where you make this big sell-off, prices then rally all the way back up, close to that all-time high, and then we get another strong sell-off back down. I mean, if we look at this move, ETH dropped about 70% right here. And then we rallied all the way back up, retested close to those all-time highs, and then we had another massive sell-off that pretty much erased all of that gain, right? I mean, besides wicks, we closed above right here, but this big wick came all the way back down to pretty much erase all of those gains. And so if you were somebody that was a late buyer, if you were somebody that bought anywhere throughout this period of time, and then you watched this happen, you were freaking out. I watched this happen. I remember thinking, when this massive sell-off was going on, oh no, is this a double top? Because everybody was sharing double top patterns. Every single person, all the analysts were, and that's exactly where the low hit, and then we ended up going for one more blow off top. Now, I've been sharing with you guys this update because I still think that where we're at today is very much the same market structure. Because here's the thing, guys. Our entire 1 wave was back down in here. This was wave 1. Wave 1, and then we went on this massive 3-wave. So this entire move all the way up from about 80 bucks clear up here to $4,300 was wave 3. Now, where we're at right now, guys, is still in the corrective move of wave 4. Inside of these 4-wave moves, you oftentimes see triangles. This is oftentimes where you're going to see the majority of those triangle formations, and it's a bullish continuation pattern. Now, whether it's an ascending triangle, whether it's a symmetrical triangle, or whether it just resembles a triangle formation in general, it doesn't have to be ascending or symmetrical, oftentimes you're going to see these really big choppy shakeouts. And it's literally just the weak hands that refuse to buy support end up FOMO buying at the top, and then smart money dumps on them again and just tries to gather more liquidity before we ultimately go up for that final move. Regardless, guys, no matter what you see right now, no matter how emotional you are, no matter if you didn't buy support down here and you're thinking about FOMO buying, understand that where we're at inside of this move is wave 4, and these are designed to chop you out. They're designed to be up and down, back and forth in a very volatile way. And so the best opportunity that we can give ourselves is simply sitting on our hands and waiting for that time when we do get a correction. And I strongly believe that we will get one. Probably speaking, this happens in every single time we see a run in the altcoins. Bitcoin will rally, altcoins will follow suit, Ethereum will start leading the way, and then right towards that point, we get this massive drop in the market where we see altcoins dip 30% in the dailies, 20 to 30%. That happens all the time. And in my opinion, the best opportunity that we can give ourselves is waiting for that 30, 20, 30% pullback where we see that big dip in the altcoins and then buying that. And I still believe that we're going to see that, guys. To me, this correction and this consolidation isn't quite done. Yes, we're getting a very big rally on the upside, but I still think that we're going to get a sharp decline on the way back down. We're going to have to fall back down. You know, a lot of people are going to be watching for this specific move right here. Let's move this out of the way a little bit. A lot of people are going to be waiting for this move right here, where, you know, Ethereum is broken up. Everybody's going to be waiting for some type of a correction where we come back down and retest this level at about $2,700, right? And then everybody wants to buy that thinking that it's just going to keep going up again. And while that is very likely, and while that is going to be the first buy opportunity that we necessarily see, I still think that that's going to be a great risk to reward buy opportunity. However, if we end up getting this rally, we fall back onto the support, and then this support becomes resistance, we're going to see a pretty decent sized drop. In my opinion, it would come all the way back down to about $2,100 would be the next opportunity to buy. And it would resemble this specific shakeout quite a bit. And that's why I want you guys to understand here that we're not out of the clear yet. I still think that we could see this same type of a move here. And if we do get that, you want to have some money set on the sidelines waiting to accumulate. You don't want to be the idiot that buys up here. You don't want to be the guy that failed to buy support so you FOMO buy at resistance. That simply just makes no sense. That's just a good way to lose all of your money. We will see a correction. Whether that correction is down to 2,700 and then we bounce and go to new all-time highs, or whether that level ends up falling and we act as resistance and we come all the way back down to 2,100, potentially even all the way down to 2,000. You want to have some money set on the sidelines to accumulate your favorite alts, whether that's ETH, whether that's BTC, or whether that's a number of other altcoins. You do want to be able to buy that dip. And so I've been sitting on my hands. I'm still very comfortable where I'm at right now. We've already been accumulating for a long time. You know, the only reason that you're getting too excited right now is because you're getting greedy. You're thinking to yourself, man, I left a lot on the table when this correction happened. I'm worried that my alts are never going to pick back up again. I need to FOMO buy right now because everybody's on Twitter talking about how bullish this is. Just ignore those people, guys. Just ignore all of that. It's no reason to get too excited because I'm telling you right now, we do see corrections all the time, and where we're at inside of this wave 4 oftentimes creates triangle formations, which, you know, are going to be like this, very big shakeouts. But regardless, guys, what is coming to us is this big move past the all-time highs. My target for ETH has always been 20K. We're going to watch and see whether I'm right or wrong. It doesn't matter because I'm going to scale out based off the time frames. But regardless, guys, we should expect to see the bulk of this profit coming in at the last 4 to 5 months of this bull run. So this is what I think is happening with ETH. This is why I think that we should be patient, wait for a correction. But one thing I wanted to share with you guys is actually the ETH BTC chart. And the reason for that is because this thing looks very, very bullish. You know, we had over 1,000 days worth of consolidation inside of this little range here. And now prices are starting to pick back up again. We're starting to get some nice breaking out inside of this market structure. This was a little bit of a triangle formation in and of itself. And we broke outside of that. And so that's a very bullish looking setup. Even though this was a descending triangle, the fact that it broke bullish oftentimes happens inside of a bull run. You're going to see descending triangles and they're going to break bullish in a bull run. It happens often. And that shouldn't really necessarily shake you out because now that we're outside of this resistance, you know, we don't really have another resistance until all the way at about 0.1 Bitcoin. That's going to be our next target here. From this point, we'd probably see another little correction, probably would take us back down to about 0.8 right there. And then regardless, guys, I still fully expect this is going to be making a new all-time high. And chances are we could get the blow off top, you know, around this exact same point. This is a long accumulation pattern, a big rounded bottom formation that started all the way back in 2018, September 2018, over 1,000 days. And we just had our first breakout from this range. And if I draw resistance, you're going to see that right here. We were always below this resistance. We were accumulating, rounding out. This was the first breakout past that. And so I already see people calling for taking profits in these little tiny resistances below the all-time high. And I constantly like to remind these people, guys, we're going to see this thing make a new all-time high. My target for this has always been 0.3. I fully expect that ETH is going to flip Bitcoin in market cap at least once this cycle. And so this is a great opportunity nonetheless. We're going to see a lot more altcoin outperformance. We're going to see ETH really take off. And this is something I want you guys to watch out for. Just watch this higher highs, higher lows as we go up. And now once we actually flip this level here at about 0.8 to 0.1, that's really where I think we're going to see a lot of FOMO setting in, a lot of optimism inside of the market. And then we're going to have another one of these little things right here where we get this big move. Wherever that is, I don't know, probably something along the lines of this. I personally think that 0.3 is going to be my target. So something like this, guys. This is what I want to see moving forward with ETH. At that point, I would be taking heavy profits to close out the year, and then we're going to start another brand new bear cycle in its place. This is just what I'm watching for. ETH looks very strong against Bitcoin. Ultimately, that just explains that, you know, the markets are looking very bullish. We're going to ultimately see higher highs and higher lows throughout this period of time. But regardless, guys, we're going to watch and see for a bigger correction inside the market, because that's going to be a great opportunity for low leverage longs, for some more spot buys. And if you haven't been buying spot, there's still been a number of altcoins that were at the lows that you could have bought. And so if you were just somebody that refused to buy support, this is basically the price that you have to pay for refusing to buy when the opportunity is right. That was buying support. If you miss that opportunity, then the best thing to do is simply wait for a bigger correction. Now, unfortunately, it might be really difficult to do that because you see all the markets going up, feel like you're getting left behind, but this is just the way that the markets roll. The next sell-off that we get, make sure that you use that opportunity because they don't come very often, especially in the latter 5 months of the bull run. Now guys, let's dive into the 5 altcoins that I think are setting up for some great gains, give you guys an opportunity to accumulate some of these because I think that these are 5 great projects, a good fundamental use case, and the technicals are showing very strong symmetry. So number 1 on the list is going to be Alkamex. Now from a chart perspective, you know, I've seen better, but the reason I like this one is because it's kind of like Aave, but it's all smart contract driven, where one of the big things that we have is we want to be able to stake our assets long term. But the problem with that is price fluctuates so much that oftentimes we can get liquidated in high volatility. Oftentimes, you know, we ultimately have to constantly update our positions and check them and pay the funding rate and all of that stuff, and it's manual. You guys have to manage all of that, and most people have no idea how to do that. And so I like Alkamex because this thing basically is programmed inside of the smart contracts to automatically pay itself. It handles all of the little details in between, so you guys can simply stake for a long period of time. You guys can earn yield on your investments, and the contract is automatically going to pay itself. It's going to pay all of the little fees that stack up, and you don't have to be worrying about all of this when you can just hold your assets long term, right? And so that's why I really like Alkamex, and we've seen how well Aave's performed, and from a technical perspective, look at all this buy volume that came in here. We had this big run all the way up here. We peaked at like $2,000, and we've seen more volume coming in down here at less than $500 than anything we've seen up to this point. And so based off of this market structure, we have made a higher high. We're currently retesting the previous resistance as support, and I think that we're going to get one more big move all the way up to about $970, just under $1,000. From here, I would expect some type of correction back down, probably back down to about $600 before going up again. Something along the lines of this, guys. I think that this is a great project from a fundamental use case. I think that you guys can actually use this project if you're trying to stake long term. For me, I'm not looking to stake anything right now. I'll stake at the bottom of the next bull or the bear cycle when we're at the beginning of 2023, because that's going to be the next cycle low for the 4-year cycle. And so that's when I'm going to be personally looking for an opportunity to stake long term, hold a lot of long term alts. And so this is going to be a great opportunity for that. I think that we're going to do really well this cycle, but this is to me one that's going to probably perform better even in the next cycle. And so this is something that's really long term. I'm still going to take my profits into the year, but I do think that this is one you guys should keep on your radar. Now, the next one on the list is going to be Unfederal Reserve, or ERSDL, something like that. That's what the ticker is. But I really like this one. I had originally accumulated this one down here at this original sell-off, all the way down at about 33 cents. So pretty close to the low of this wick. We had a nice bounce, but then we ended up falling to another new low. So I ended up buying some more down here at about 13, 14 cents approximately. And thus far, I still think it's a great opportunity. This just looks like your classic example of a market cycle. This thing got very parabolic on the way up. And I still think it's pretty undervalued nonetheless. You know, this was just wave 1. This looks like it's wave 3. And then I still think we're going to get one more final 5-wave impulse still to go. And I mean, just from where we're at today, if we go back and retest the all-time highs, you're still looking at a great return. You know, that's about 6x just to the all-time highs. As it stands right now, this just looks like your classic example of a market cycle. We have capitulation, anger, depression, right? Classic example of a market cycle, a little less choppy than a normal market cycle. That's just because everybody capitulated on this original sell-off here. I remember seeing a lot of people on Twitter getting liquidated. A lot of people took too many AVE loans up here at the top. And this is really the point where we pretty much see a stabilization. And now we see this first higher high, right? This is your example of disbelief right here. This is where the market makes a higher high. It flips this resistance here. And then everybody thinks, oh, this is a sucker's rally. It's never going to go up again. And then that's just subsequently the bottom. And I do think that we're going to rally all the way up here to about 70 cents. And so this to me looks like one of the better ones on the shorter time frames. I do like this one from a fundamental perspective. I think that there's a lot of smart minds behind this. You know, a lot of fun around this project in general, especially once the whales. So here's the thing, guys. The market was going up here, and then there was a lot of whales that were shorting the market once they launched their platform. And then everybody said that that was a bug inside of the thing. But, you know, guys, this was going to crash regardless. And so it's just a bunch of people that got over-leveraged at the top, making a bunch of excuses for why they suck at trading. Now is the good time when you actually want to get in after all of those people have been liquidated. And I do think that this is just the first little impulse because we've just flipped this resistance here. We've just flipped that resistance. And so I think we're going to get a strong move up to 70 cents, and this is one you should have on your radar. Next up on the list is going to be Ramp. This is one that I've made a lot of money on thus far. I originally started accumulating this one clear down here at about 2 cents, pretty much at the very beginning of this chart. And so my VIPs made quite a bit of money for the people that did buy all the way down there. But then I've also made more signals and talked about this on YouTube here. That one was about 4 cents. And then I also talked about it right here. So we pretty much talked about this at every good opportunity that we had. I ended up taking some profits, but regardless, this one is really still a low cap crypto. A lot of people use it, and it's just on-ramp liquidity for these DeFi projects, right? So what we see here is just your classic example of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse. And we've got our correction back down. We saw the ABC, A, B, C, right? So this is just your example of a one wave impulse. This entire move is just wave 1. And we're getting ready for wave 3. That's why I believe that this one's really going to fly. It's going to go up quite a bit in this next move. And where it's at right now is kind of the same as ERSDL. We made these lows, we found support, and now this is just kind of the first little higher highs stitching inside of this move. I think we're going to get one push upwards of about 40 cents. We'll probably fall back down. But regardless, guys, this thing is set to be making a new all-time high very soon. And because this is wave 3 that it's getting ready for, we should expect that that all-time high is going to happen quickly. Big green candles, a lot of buying coming in here. And where it's at right now is still very undervalued. So this is one I think you guys should watch out. Just to the all-time high from where we're at today, approximately over 3x. So with a low cap crypto, that can happen very quickly within a few days. And so I think that this is one you guys should definitely be watching out for. Now, next up on the list is going to be one with a little bit more risk tolerance for the people that think that, you know, they're looking for a big Deegan gain, because this one still hasn't confirmed a breakout of its downtrend. You know, we're still kind of going down quite a bit. And so I think that this is one that for the people that have a little extra money to spend, this might be a good opportunity because the gains are still pretty right. Now, just to the next resistance, which would be up here at about 26 bucks. You know, that's going to be a huge gain in and of itself. And where we're at right now, you know, we have made a higher high. I think that we might end up bottoming somewhere right around this level here, pretty close to where we're at. And that's why I think that as long as this support holds, we're going to be seeing a quick buyback that could take us all the way back up to this previous resistance, because there really isn't a whole lot of resistance left. So if you were able to buy, you know, where we're at today, just to that next high is going to be over 250%. I think that that's a good risk to reward ratio, considering this is a pretty low cap coin. It can hit that really quickly in one big green candle. I've seen it happen before. And nonetheless, guys, if this ends up being the cycle low here and you get in, if we end up tagging this all-time high again, that's over 22x returns. And I think that's a great opportunity amongst the low caps. SnowSwap itself is just a swap mechanism like Uniswap, like SushiSwap, all of those. And obviously we know how well those have done. And so if this thing does end up taking advantage of that market, we should see this one rally quite up a lot. And what it reminds me of, to be honest, is Zilliqa. I took this Zilliqa trade way back in the cycle lows, and I made a lot of money doing so. And it was right down in here that I bought it. It was this move here, this first little correction. I bought my first batch of Zilliqa right there. And to me, it just kind of reminded me of that same exact sort of symmetry. where we make our little higher high in here, and then it just really started to explode to that next resistance. Now, obviously, the market structure looks a little bit different, but this is ultimately what happened to Zilliqa. We ended up tagging all the way back up at that all-time high. And so, whether that happens or not, we're going to have to wait and see. But because this is still such a small low-cap project, I don't see that it's unlikely or unreasonable that this thing could do that. If it peaked at this level all the way back there in February, these market cycles have known to return and make new all-time highs often. And so whether we even just hit the all-time high, whether we stop somewhere in here, this is still going to be a great return. And I think that this one is a little bit of a better opportunity for the Deegans out there that want to get something a little more risky. Now, next up on the list, guys, is going to be Wearable. Wearable is one of my favorite setups and also one of the strongest from a fundamental perspective. If you're into NFTs, you'll probably know what Wearable already is. This is simply just a platform like OpenSea for listing, selling, trading all of your own NFTs. Now, I like this one from a technical perspective because it's just a one wave. We've only finished 3 impulses. Well, I should say 1 impulse, followed by a correction back down. A, B, C, right? So where it stands right now is this entire move is simply wave 1. And because of the hype around NFTs, I do strongly believe this one's going to perform really well. We're still just accumulating down here at the lows. In my opinion, now that we're at right here, we flip this resistance. So as long as support can hold pretty much where we're at, I foresee this one rallying back up to about 22 bucks. From this move, we might actually correct back down, retag this line. So I think that this line down here at about $13 is going to be a good opportunity for buying, whether you buy it today or whether you wait for a correction. At the end of the day, we don't know exactly how long this correction is going to last. If we do get one, this thing could just simply rally all the way up here and then flip this level and then just keep going up like that. We don't know exactly. But the thing is, guys, right now where we're at is still a very undervalued point because this is a one wave and we're getting ready for wave 3. These are great opportunities. One wave impulses are always, well, I should say 3-wave impulses after a one wave correction is always the most opportune time because the 3-wave is where you see the most money made, the most volume, the biggest breakouts, and all of that good stuff. And so if you could buy this green line or red line, approximately where we're at, to the all-time high, you're looking at about over 2x returns. And like I said, wave 3 is oftentimes the biggest. And this to me just looks like a really undervalued cycle. It's really early still. Like I said, guys, the majority of our alt gains is going to be had within the next 5 months. A lot of these have made good gains if you were able to buy any of these cycle lows. But regardless, guys, the big impulse for these ends up happening at the end of the year, the blow off top. So we're going to take a lot of profits, close out the year. We're going to be out of these altcoins, but nonetheless, these low cap stuff are looking very primed for a lot more upside. So watch out for Wearable. Alrighty, guys, last up on the list is going to be Gather. This one is awesome. I love this from a fundamental case because basically it allows you to get paid for traffic. All of the traffic that us internet marketers end up doing, running our email lists, all of that good stuff, all of the traffic that we can generate to a specific website, ultimately they're going to be able to pay you in Gather tokens, and then you're going to be able to just make extra profit. So if you have a high traffic website, some of these people that were around for the internet bubble that maybe made a few different informative websites that you get a lot of traffic to, or whether you're just a company that ends up generating quite a bit of revenue and you have a lot of eyeballs on that website, you guys can actually set up your website through Gather, and you're going to be able to earn, Gather tokens in the process. And this to me just looks like a great market cycle. Just your classic example of a one wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, followed by an ABC correction, as always. A, B, C, back down. Pretty much fully retraced. We literally bottomed at the same point that I originally bought my Gather in. And so shout out to the people that accumulated it back down at the lows. But regardless, guys, this is just wave 1. Almost all of these low caps are wave 1. And I'm telling you right now, I bought a lot of one wave corrections fairly close to the lows, not always at the exact bottom. Nobody usually nails the exact low. But regardless, guys, in these times where we're starting to see an uptrend, where we're seeing the volume come back in, those are the opportune times to get back in. Whether you wait for a correction, whether you FOMO buy right now, I still don't necessarily count that as FOMO buying because we're still really undervalued here. What will probably end up happening for Gather is we rally upwards of about 45 cents. From here, we might pull back, and then we're going to get another big high after. Because like I said, guys, one waves are the greatest time to buy in that corrective move in wave 2, preparing for wave 3 because that's the biggest inside of the Elliott wave impulses. So this is one from a fundamental case you guys can make a lot of money on if you have a high traffic website. You guys can also make a lot of money on it if you just simply buy the lows. I'm watching out for this one because it's going to provide some great returns. I mean, if you buy today, just to the all-time high, you're looking at approximately 3x. And this is one of the better returning assets very low cap crypto, I think that this is a great opportunity. So this is all my 5 altcoins that I think are great opportunities. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these. SnowSwap's going to be the most risky, but all of the other 4, in my opinion, are going to be a lot safer bets. These are projects that do have a great fundamental use case, great communities behind them, and they're ultimately developed by a lot of smart people inside of the crypto space. So if you guys found value in this, always remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys would like to sign up for my Discord server or download my free ebook, links are going to be provided for you in the description for that. For the people that would like to actually join my signals, follow all those trades that I take over this next cycle, there's also going to be a link in the description for that on my website. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and with all that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.